What's going on, YouTube? This is your boy, Mr. Micro Mike, and tonight I am your host for this evening's Roundtable, the absolute best Lions show on YouTube, period. Chat, we have medication that is required to ease your pain from the record of our beloved Detroit Lions. Let me just jump straight into the panel tonight. First is the man who once lost his wedding ring. Since that moment, Middle Earth has never been the same. What's going on, J-Mo?
What's good, y'all? How y'all doing out there, man?
Hey, man. Hey, without you, we don't have Gandalf, so I'm very happy that you're
Lord
here.
Jesus.
I mean, that's how I do it, man.
Next is the man who put out a forest fire with gasoline. What up, dope? Luke G?
It wasn't me, man. What it do, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another great show, man. Get yourselves ready, get some popcorn, get you some dilly dillies, and let's have fun with it, man. Even in a time where it probably ain't much to smile about, there's still enough to have fun with.
And that's what vodka's for. J-Mo, can you do me a Can you do roll call at all?
All right, y'all. What's good? What's up, everybody? What's up to all the Lions fans out there? We got Kyle Webb in the building. What up, though? James Willis, Dim Sum, Lions Den 20 Scott in the building. What up, though? Roland G in the building. What's good, Roland? Gerald 313 in the building. What up, though? We got Rip Distortion. We got Zach in the building. We got Kierick in the building. We got Adam Bockhart. We got George Morgan. We got our boy Noble Sports Entertainment in the building. What's good, yo? Dola Dynamite in the building. Abdul Terrell Sports Today in the building. What's good, everybody? Make sure you guys like the video so we can get it out to everybody, man.
Everybody, absolutely. What up, Doe? LA Original, man. Thank you for beating the Packers. That made me and the rest of the DSA feel real happy about that. Absolutely.
Yeah, we ain't let up our end of the bargain, but thanks for beating the Packers, though.
Hey, we are the Titanic, man. We are definitely the Titanic. So the Lions took an L on Sunday against the Oakland Raiders. What is the major cause for the loss, and can it be fixed, Luke G?
Well, the biggest cause for the loss is in my opinion. I know people think we can't have an opinion, but the truth is, it's not even an opinion. The biggest cause for the loss is poor coaching. It is what it is. It's poor coaching. The game plan is not in I think that players who are willing to open their mouth and speak are doing a very good job of telling you the locker room and the emotion of the players, and the way they view it. And the truth is when you look at this team, it breaks down to coaching. Can it be fixed? Yes, it can be fixed. But the problem is in order for it to be fixed, something had to happen that I'm not sure is going to happen. And that is Matt Patricia needs to take over play calling from his mentor. And he's already said he's not going to do it. However, to me, this is what's going to right this ship. Because if you don't want to be able to put your hands in the cookie jar while putting your other hand in the refrigerator for the milk, you're going to expect to just have a big mess, because guess what? You're going to keep doing the same things, getting the same results. And that's just not going to work for us. We haven't been able to stick to the game plan, which is, are we going to be balanced, or are we going to just be one-dimensional? And right now, we're one-dimensional.
Yeah, man. If we were a food right now, we'd be Sloppy Joes for sure. J-Mo, same question to you. We took the L. What is the major cause for these L's, and can it be fixed?
The major call for the loss to the Oakland Raiders is basically the major cause for all of our losses. It's been the same thing. Not being able to run the football or stop the run. That's just basic. Josh Jacobs ran all over us. And our running game actually was much better than I thought it would be in spurts. But we couldn't run when we wanted to run, and they knew we were going to run the football. They stopped us. But when we got them off balance, we ran the ball. But not being able to run the ball enough, I mean, that's why I was wondering if, maybe Bob Quinn regret getting rid of C.J. Anderson, because we got 4th and 1, and we don't even got a threat of running the football. Even if C.J. I don't care if he ran the ball or not. If he was on the field, the defense might have believed we was going to run the football. You know what I'm saying? with just not having those guys to run the football and to stop the run, or they underachieving. To me, it's just something basic that we haven't been able to do all year, because we've actually been able to play defense at points in time all year. It's been above average coaching at points in time all year. But the one thing we haven't been able to do all year is run the football and stop the run.
Man, that's cold hard facts right there. If you cannot run the football on a consistent basis, if you cannot simply go ahead and stop the run on a consistent basis, you're going to get exposed and it's going to tear the team down. They're going to be worn out fourth quarter. Shoot, the way that we're running, we're worn out in the first half of the first quarter. I mean, the drives are long, they're hard beating, they're running down our throats, and we can't do anything to stop it. Now, I would go with that, but there's another thing. I think that the reason that we lost, as well as the reason why there's a lot of dysfunction, it seems like there is simply no communication when it comes to defense. And if there is, it seems like players are out of place. I feel like maybe they're completely discombobulated when it comes to understanding the scheme against the offense they're going against. I'm not sure if that's because they don't care after the Diggs trade, or if that is the reason because they're simply not putting in the right place, like a chess match. You know, You're not putting your queen in the right place to take out the king. You're not putting the pawns in the right place to protect your queen and king. I think it's a mixture of both, and it's really alarming in my opinion. And actually, this goes straight to my second question, and this was the big news. Darius Slay made an alarming comment suggesting the Lions have the right pieces to the puzzle, but they are not placed in the correct spot. Luke G., what does he mean by this statement, and is he correct?
Listen, what he literally did is gave y'all an inside look into what a lot of the players are saying that they're not telling the coaching staff. And what they're saying is this, and he's right. He's right. We do have the pieces. We had a game where we tied against the Arizona Cardinals, and after a tie, Brandon Marshall came out and he says the Detroit Lions will win the division, and they're a good team. They have all the right pieces. They have everything. They have the running back. They have they have everything. And if you think about a puzzle, you got all the pieces for a puzzle, but you still got to put each piece in its right spot. And what he's basically saying is, at this point, our head coach is not putting us, the pieces, this team, in the right spots to win. And we're getting beat the same way every single time. And the reason he's saying that is because he's right. Teams ain't even trying to act like they need to figure out what we're doing. They know what we're doing because we're back to being one-dimensional, okay? On top of being one-dimensional, defensively, he hasn't made no adjustments in that department for me. Now, he did switch over to a 4-3, but I thought this was in the Giants game. But I thought this is another one of those games where I'm like, go back to the 4-3, bud, because this 3-4 is giving Josh Jacobs life. So, yes, he's absolutely right. When you sit there and you look at the way that Darius Slay is presenting this, he simply is telling you we have the pieces to win now. We're not winning because the person in charge of putting the puzzle together doesn't know what the puzzle looks like. And if he does, he's refusing to put the pieces in the right spot for them to be successful and give you the whole picture.
You know what this reminds me of? A split image of what we've dealt with last year, but on the opposite side of the field. The offense was predictable and garbage, and it felt like they're not utilizing the talent and putting the talent in right places. Now we're seeing that with the defense. It seems like they're trying to put a square in a circle spot here. You're running your pass rushing with three players, and the quarterback sitting there, it seems like every single play. You're not putting people in position to succeed. We know Jared Davis is fast. Let's see him pass rush. We know what Jelani Tavai can do. Let's see some mixture of these pieces in there to get after the quarterback. JMO, what Darius Slay said, do you agree? And what can be done if that's the case?
I mean, I'm sorry, Mike, but I don't think it is what can be done. What's the solution stuff you're talking about? Bruh, get rid of Matt Patricia. Now, back to the question.
I mean, you just go. You just gonna come in quick with the no. Get rid of Matt Patricia. Hey, listen, J-Mo, tell me if I'm right or wrong. Remember, I was like, after the first year, I was like, you gotta fire him. And remember, I think it was you and a few. I
It
think
was
about that
me.
TA.
I'm about to say it was me and you. We both was like after the tie, we was like, man, Patricia gotta go, bro.
Right. We were like, he gotta get fired. And then even after that first game, but I'm talking about after the last year's season, I remember we was having a conversation about it. And I said, okay, I know it's only been one season, but I've seen enough to know that this team is not going to succeed under him. He's still learning on the job. We don't have time with this talent to play with people who need to learn on the job. And I think it was you and TA who was like, no, give him a chance, man. It's only been 1 year. And I'm like, I've seen
Yeah,
enough
you
in one
have to
year.
give a coach a chance after 1 year.
I
That's why
know, but I had saw enough.
I'm looking at the team. I'm looking at he had JBC. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Because the offensive side of the ball is the reason that we probably even watch football games anymore.
J-Mo, you cursed.
We
You
know
just
they gonna do
said
something.
three letter word that's forbidden on this channel, and it rhymes with KFC, but you said the real name.
Right.
Hey man, it is what it is. But Darius Slade is just telling me locker room is upset with Matt Patricia and his play caller. And you know what? I think that they're upset that Matt Patricia isn't calling the plays. That's what I think it is.
Yep.
Paul Pepperoni out here calling the plays, and Paul Pepperoni can't do anything right. And they're like, bro, why is Paul Pepperoni calling the plays when you were calling the plays for us? We were a top 10 defense, and nobody could score on us. Why is this bum coaching us? Like, how would you feel if you got Greg Popovich as a basketball coach, with you being coached by your little league coach from high school, and Greg Popovich sitting on the bench just not doing nothing? You would be pissed off. And to me, that's what I think it is.
That brings into a next question. Why is Paul Macaroni calling plays? Do you believe he's calling all the plays? And why won't Matt Patricia take over the play calling? Luke G.
Originally, I thought that the play calling was coming from Matt Patricia. I really did think that's what it was coming from. And I know certain radio personalities have said that they believe that that's where it's coming from. But the more I look at last year and how they was making adjustments and how they were doing different things, I really believe that this is the year he let that defensive coordinator call the plays. Last year, you saw him on the sidelines talking to the defense, trying to get them squared away, and then this year he comes out and says that he needs to be more in tune with the game and let them do their job. No, the guy's not doing his job. And when they don't do their job, you need to step in there and fix it. Because if you don't, you're going to be out the door with them. And in my opinion, I think that it's all Paul Pasqualoni calling this stuff. Because let's be honest here. You know, the blitz is not coming. But if you just go back to the last, especially after the snacks trade, when Matt Patricia was having his hand all over the defense, that defense got better and better and better. We're getting worse and worse and worse. And I think it is because of Paul Pasqualoni. That's why I said don't be surprised if Falcons, they're going to do it. Once they fire their head coach, Dan Quinn, if he ends up being our defensive coordinator. Don't be surprised.
That'd be interesting. And AT has got a question that I think I can answer fairly quickly. He says, who do you think goes because of this coming out, Slay or Patricia? I could guarantee you Slay is going to be the one gone.
Yeah, Slay's gone. He's gone. Slay's done too much at this point to warrant to keep him. The amount of talking he doing, and this is why I was irritated with Bob Quinn. Like, you gotta trade him. You can't ask for 2 first-round picks. Ain't nobody finna give you that for no Darius Slay. If you was lucky to get a second, now we're gonna lose Darius Slay for at least a fourth in a player, because I'm telling you, he's not gonna play next year. And if he do, he's going to get the mother load of contracts as a corner. And I wouldn't pay Slade no deal like that. I'm not paying cornerbacks who can't do what Darrell Reeves did and take away half of a field. He can't do that. So Slade's definitely going to be the eyeball out before Patricia. But I can assure you, don't be surprised if Patricia ain't following behind him real closely on their way out the door as well.
Chat, we have 49 in right now and 24 thumbs up. make sure to hit that thumbs up. Let's get it all the way to 49 so we can get this going out there on YouTube and the algorithm, and some more people can see the DSA and what we bring to the table. Now, JMO, question back to you. Is Pasqualoni calling the plays, and who goes? Patricia or Darius Slay? And who do you want to go? We'll do both, because I have a feeling we know who's going to go, but who do you want to go?
Paul Pepperoni is calling the play. It's obvious, man. No, I'm telling you, man, that was our nickname when we first got Paul Pepperoni. That was the nickname. So I'm going to stick with it. He's definitely calling the plays. Like I said, it's clear as day. I feel like it was certain games where Patricia was calling the plays, like the Chiefs game. I feel like that was a Patricia kind of game. But some of these other, he's calling the plays and he's not good at it. The locker room sees it. Who do I want to go and who will go? The answer is both to both of those questions. I want both of them to go, and they both will go. So Darius Slay, I like him as a player. I mean, people are not throwing the ball his way anymore because they're scared. And, you know, I actually wish they would throw him the ball more because we could get some turnovers. But I just think both of their time is up. And Matt Patricia, I don't know what they're gonna do with him, because it's about how this season turns out. Because if we win 8 games, win 9 games, there's no way they're going to fire Matt Patricia. It just won't happen. And I think that's very possible. But if we win 7 games, they can have an excuse. But I'm not really sold. As bad as we look, I'm not sold on us not being able to win games against some of the worst teams on our schedule. But we'll see what happens next week and things like that. And this week. But I just think, you know, they're both going to go.
Yeah, I could see that happening for sure. Look, when I think of Darius Slay, I believe we should have traded him before the deadline, because now the value dramatically drops. Because first off, we're not going to be able to get rid of him until the offseason, where he'll only have 1 year left on the deal, and everyone knows he's disgruntled. I think that automatically that hurts the value there. So we're going to lose more draft capital or pieces that we could have originally got. When it comes to Paul Macaroni, look, I think he is sometimes calling the plays, and he's doing a really bad job. I'm not sure. Look, when he was in college, he was a bad coach in college. This was known. I remember when he got hired in, I said, why are they bringing a guy who barely had a winning record on as a defensive coordinator for the Lions? It's because he knew him. And I hate the fact that you bring in people simply because you know them and you have a feel for them. Look what Darrell Bevell brought. They didn't know him, and he's doing a much better job than Paul Pepperoni and Cheese. It's a bit frustrating.
Yeah, I do want to say something that's unrelated, but I see Jeff Terry. He's been commenting about us trading Stafford and things like that. You want to trade Stafford, cool, but I'm gonna tell this to all the people that want Stafford to get traded. The reason the Forest won't trade Stafford is you trade Stafford, nobody will come to Fort Field for probably the next 5 years. And when I was thinking about, you know, who we could trade him to or what we could get, I'm like, there's no way they're gonna trade their cash cow, and they're not. So
I can see if the deal is worth it. I think everything has a price.
It have to be 3 first-round picks, and ain't nobody gonna give up 3 first-round picks.
They'll probably give up at least 1 first in a player or something. But I get what you're saying though, and I saw where I can't remember who put that comment in there. It was something about if we have Von Miller, if we have Von Miller, this team will look different. No, it won't. We're not using talent the way it's supposed to be used. That's what the whole thing Darius Slay is saying. We're not using the stuff that we have. We're not.
Because Jared Davis and his play right now, and the fans been attacking him. I'm like, there is no way you can get me to believe that he is as bad as he looks, or that any of our team is as bad as they look. I'm like, just a few weeks ago, about a week ago, we were looking real good against better competition. So it has to be something that's wrong with the coach. I mean, yes, we lost to the Chiefs, but, bro, the Chiefs scored 20 points on offense against us. So without Darius Slade or Sean Hand or Mike Daniels, so like what happened?
And Quandre Diggs, because he got knocked out early in that game.
Yeah, and take it a step further. I keep hearing people say it's the players, it's Bob Quinn, it's the players. No, it's not the players. It's no. New England ain't got all these great players. They got good coaching. They got a scheme that makes that. I put it this way: New England said, "Hey, this guy plays like this." New England said, "We're making a band. This guy plays piano. This guy plays drums. This guy plays guitar. What we're doing is we're asking the guy that plays piano, who don't know nothing about the drums, to play the drums. The guy who plays the drums, we saying, hey, we know you don't know nothing about guitar. Go play guitar. And the guitar player who knows nothing about the piano, hey, go play the piano. We're going to make beautiful music. No, this is not a player issue. The Lions are not lacking talent. That's not true. That is a false narrative that should not be pushed. The Lions have talent. The issue is coming at coaching. Was it talent's fault when you got 12 men on the field? That was on the talent? And you got to burn the timeout for that? Was that his fault? Was it the talent's fault when you got 6 minutes on the clock and you let it run all the way down below the 2-minute warning before you call a timeout? That's not the talent's fault. Okay?
Let me drop an analogy for you that specifically happened to me at my time when I was in Operation Iraqi Freedom. Now, this was something well known in the troop that I was in. I was Charlie Troop. We were a convoy company. So all we did was did convoys back and forth from northern Kuwait into Iraq on a daily basis. So something we did every single day. Now, as myself as a sergeant and my platoon sergeant and all the squad leaders, all the individuals that been on the field and doing the operations day in and day out, we knew exactly what we were getting into. We had a plan and it worked. However, our captain, who was never in the field, he never did convoys, he was intellectually smart, but he had no idea how to run a real action convoy in theater, in combat. He was in far over his head, and seeing him try to take command of a 4-truck team was just straight a joke. It was an absolute joke. He was very intellectually smart. He had all the degrees. He had everything in backing in him, except for he did not have the experience, and he did not know how to operate real theater action. And I think this is kind of what we're seeing when it comes to the Detroit Lions and the coaching staff. You have Matt Patricia, who is intellectually smart. We know this. He knows X's and O's. This is known throughout the NFL. However, when it comes to game time, for whatever reason, the result is not there. And I think it's a situation like that. Now, I'm not guaranteed to say that it is or not, but that's an analogy that I can give you from a personal hand experience, that there's two different types of individuals out there. You'll have people who can play the game of football on game day and be absolutely great, but in practice, they're terrible. And you wonder what is the case for this. But for whatever reason, when the lights come on, when the pressure is on, people don't perform to that standard.
Facts. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, let's make sure we hit that like button, because we want to make sure that we keep this video pumping, man. Put that like button up in there. And if you have already done so, give me a thumbs up in the chat to let us know that you're still rocking with us. Now, I saw a comment that said, well, Luke G, whose fault is it when they arm tackle? Well, you can blame it on the players. When the players are arm tackling, you can blame it on the players. But let me ask you this question right here. How is it possible that everybody arm tackles? There has to be a level of disciplinary action that comes with this type of behavior. So, Mike, you're a residential military guy, right?
Yes.
When you were serving this great country of ours, if one of y'all messed up, who got in trouble? Was it just you, or did the whole group get in trouble?
What they would do is the leadership would punish me in front of my guys. And then when I got done being punished, I would take my guys out back and I would give them some hell, in which the likes they haven't seen before. Because what they do is they don't just punish the person that did it. They go after everybody. So everyone holds each other account. If you screw up, your battle buddy is going to get feeling the pain. Thus, it puts pressure on yourself to do well.
So it's safe to say that it still comes back to the leadership, right?
Yes, always. It's always, no matter what the result. If I have an accidental discharge with my weapon and something bad happens, the person who's going to get in trouble is the sergeant major. He's going to get in trouble. What he's going to do is go to the first sergeant and he's going to rip him a new one. What the first sergeant's going to do is rip my platoon sergeant. What he's going to do is rip my squad leader. And what they're going to do is they're all going to go find me and mess me up real good.
So this same principle that has been applied from little league. 'Cause I remember when I was in little league, if the running back fumbled, we all ran. I remember if we missed a tackle, we all ran. If we missed an opportunity, we all ran. That goes back to leadership. So when they're making earned tackles, who's supposed to get them back on track to say enough of this? The same way you can coach it into them to punch at the ball, coach it into them to wrap up. Coach it into them to actually follow through on a tackle. Better yet, actually put the players in position to shoot the gaps. And when they shoot the wrong gaps, send a message by sending them on the bench. There's too many things that leadership can do to make this thing different. We can't keep acting like this team don't have talent. This team has talent. Is the talent doing the best that they can? No. But at some point, we got to start to say, is it leadership reflecting it's the attitude of the team reflective of the leadership? And I'm telling you, that's what's happening. That's what's happening.
Now, yesterday, I posted a poll that generated a large-scale number of votes. First off, thanks everyone for participating. Nearly 170 votes. That's straight awesome. The question that I did ask was, should head coach Matt Patricia be fired now, or no, he needs more time? And the results were fairly alarming to myself. I was shocked with this. 43% said fired now, and 57% said wait till later. Simply put, they want to see a little bit more. JMO, what do you see when you see those type of numbers? Because that's a big amount.
Well, I think we should fire him now because first of all, have your replacement set, whether it's a Tony Dungy, Gary Kubiak, or Bill Parcells, some guy that we're not thinking about right now. I saw somebody in the chat say Rex Ryan. I don't want no Rex Ryan. Whether it's any of those guys, it's just about like getting the right person in charge. And I would rather have a new coach right now because that new coach in the middle of the season, expectations are going to be low, and see what he could build with us within the season. And this is why we got Stafford and Darrell Bevel. So you can replace the coach with almost anybody, and as long as they aren't, stupid. But we've seen Matt Patricia. But you can. My point is, our offense is good enough to win games regardless of who the coach is. So if that's the case, you bring in your new guy, let him do what he wants to do in the middle of the season, and have Stafford and Darrell Bevel keep doing the same thing. Tell Darrell Bevel to run outside, and tell the defense to learn how to tackle. But I would be open to doing that, man, because the thing with me is I don't like this coaching carousel. I don't like to just get rid of a coach, but I don't see any potential in Matt Patricia. If you're gonna let your horrible coach who's worse than you at being a defensive coordinator coach, then what's the point? If you're gonna have your team out of sync, then what's the point? If you're not gonna use all of your talents and all of your pieces to the best of their ability, what's the point? I would rather go in a different direction. But because, like I said, I don't like the coaching carousel. But my thing is Matt Patricia going to be any better in year 4? No.
When I seen those numbers, I seen basically that the fan base is split down the middle, basically 50-50. And that kind of shocked me. I thought it would be a little bit more weight simply because it's his second year. I was shocked to see that it was 50-50. Now, it could be simply
I'm
because.
tell you why.
Okay, tell me why.
Stafford throwing for 400 yards. I would say when Stafford throwing for 400 yards and we losing, you ain't about to wait for another year of a head coach. Like this, I remember last year actually, Matt Ryan had like 38 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, and Atlanta won like 6 games. I don't know. I didn't watch any of those games, so I don't know what happened in those games. But I feel like this is that kind of team. You have all these offensive weapons. Your quarterback plays out of his mind, but the team can't do anything because the head coach and the defensive coordinator don't have what it takes to win football games. And to me, like when Stafford is playing this well and we still can't win, still can't run the ball, like after a while, you're just like, yo, I need somebody. I need a replacement right now. You know, it's sort of like a snap reaction, just instantly like set me free.
Interestingly enough, again, it's split down the middle. A lot of people say fire him. A lot of people say go ahead and keep him. We got a guy saying, why get those likes up? You sound like 97 won the ticket. I think.
Wait, hold on. Wait. So let me get this straight.
Go ahead.
We sound like 97 won the ticket for being objective. This is not the let me just give you what you want to hear and tell you all these great things. The truth is this. There's a problem with this team. And if there's a problem with this team, there has to be a solution to fix that problem. For example, if you have a flat tire, you don't just keep driving on that same flat tire. You got to stop and fix it. So we are literally making a stop to come up with solutions to fix it. If that's not worthy of getting a like up for you, then I can respect that. But at the end of the day, we're going to remain objective because the truth is there's a problem. And we have to be able to say, okay, what's the problem at hand? You know, even with the people who think that, oh, we sounding just like we sounding just like 97 point on the ticket. No, the truth is this. How long does it really take a coach to turn something around? The thing that I'm seeing is bigger than sounding like somebody from a radio show. This is a problem when you got talent and you're not using it.
It's not about how long it takes for a coach to turn something around. To me, it's more like you got Matthew Stafford. Like you have the main pillar that any coach starting any franchise needs to be successful. And you don't just got Matthew. You got some nice little offensive linemen, and you got some nice weapons. Why can't you win games? It should not be that hard. I mean, Matt LaFleur got Aaron Rodgers and a bunch of no-name receivers, and they winning games. I know
because they running the ball. They running the ball and playing defense.
They winning games. They winning games.
And the thing is this. Even with that, anything that you point to, lack of consistency, not utilizing our weapons appropriately. I mean, I'm going to show y'all how disrespectful that this head coach is. I'm going to show y'all this. How do you take Trey Carson, who came in and was here for all the bit of a couple days, and start him over a guy you drafted in the 6th round? How do you do that? And then you expect for said guy to get the matches to be better. Then what he do? He comes out against the Raiders, have some good runs, and what you do? You stop giving him the ball. I don't get that. That's on the head coach. That's on the head coach. When you see that your defense is struggling, and instead of you taking your hands, which has always been in the defensive side of the ball, and put your hands into the mix, that's on the head coach. Yes, he's got to go with that kind of thinking. You can't have a head coach who sees that his problem is the defense and refuse to step in to fix the defense. But then we sound like 97.1 a ticket for telling the truth.
Man, it's whatever, man. We got Man Beast Morris and we got Detroit Drew, our DSA member in the chat. What's good, y'all? What's good? How y'all doing, man? Make sure you guys like the video if you haven't already. And man, it's not even about sounding like 97 won a ticket. Because 97 won a ticket is like Trey Stafford, fire Bob Quinn. Like, come on, none of us are saying that. So,
right.
I mean, Stafford deserves to be set free, but I know that's not going to happen, and I'm definitely not firing Bob Quinn. Bob Quinn has made some horrible mistakes, but he's made too many good mistakes for me to get rid of him. So, I mean, too many good things happen, not good mistakes, but too many good things happen for me to get rid of him. So.
But the bigger part of it is this too, and I'm sure Mike can concur on this. The bigger part is the purpose of any type of thing that anybody do, it should be objective. And if you're not going to be objective, then that's not going to fix anything. I just look at it from this standpoint, and I say we're not even utilizing the weapons that we got. Y'all realize Jesse James got targeted twice in that game? Twice. He caught one. The other one was a wild pass, but nonetheless, 2 targets. 2. You take out your 2 best receiving threats on a crucial down. Who is that go on? Like,
Now,
come on.
When I see winning football teams, what I've always wanted for Detroit was a physical team, a team that can run the football and stop the run. That's all I've really wanted. I've seen finesse throughout the years. I mean, we've seen the years of Calvin Johnson, Matthew Stafford, bombing, doing great on offense, and yes, that's great. But I always wanted a team that could just run it down your throat. The team knows that you're going to run it, and they can't do anything about it. That's something that I always crazed. When the 49ers, when they had Jim Harbaugh and their physical team, I always thought, dang, man, I wish I could have a physical team like that where it's very simple. We're going to run the ball and we're going to play hardcore defense and we're going to beat you through the trenches, just like Dan said. And that's what I really thought they were going to do this year when they built that defensive lineup. I said, wow, this defensive line is looking like it's going to be a boss. No one's going to be able to run on it. And, when it comes to injuries to Kerryon Johnson, there's some things you cannot control. And that's a given. You can't control injuries when it comes to what we had on the defensive line with Hand and Mike Daniels, as well as Kerryon Johnson went down, even though he wasn't doing too well at that point. We had a couple of injuries on the offensive line with Graham Glasgow. Those are things that is out of the coach's hand, and I totally get it. But that's what the depth is for. You build a quality team via depth, and I felt like Bob Quinn has done a fairly successful job in doing that. I think, again, the trade of Diggs really hurt the focus of the Lions in the locker room. It seems like right after that trade happened, the wheels fell off. I mean, we were playing okay defense. We were. I mean, in that Kansas City game, I was so proud of this team in Kansas City holding Patrick Mahomes. I mean, you look at the Minnesota Vikings, they lost without Patrick Mahomes. We could have beat them with Patrick Mahomes. The staple of this defense was the secondary. And
Right.
I initially, when you know me, I was very upset with the loss, and I said, I'm tired of Matt Patricia. But the more I think about it, if we were to fire him now, it's not going to win us games right now. I think what we need to do is have cooler heads and wait for the season to be over and see if it can improve. He is a defensive mind, and it's frustrating to see a 32nd ranked defense, as it should never occur. Never. But I want to see if the players change. I want to see if they can get better. If they can't, this season's over pretty much anyways, right? I mean, the NFC is stacked with Ducks.
Yeah, that's why I disagree with you, though, about if we get rid of Matt Patricia, then we're not going to get better. Well, Matt Patricia isn't doing anything to help the team right now. So whether he's there or not, we're going to win as many games as possible on Stafford and Darrell Bevel miracles. This is a Stafford and Darrell Bevel or bust team, regardless of what Patricia does. So that's why I'm thinking, if you're not going to add, like, if you're going to let Paul Pasqualoni call the plays, right now, to me, Patricia ain't even a head coach. He's just a figurehead for the Force. If you're a defensive coordinator and you're not calling the plays and you got the 32nd rate defense, come on. Like, he can go. And I say you replace him with somebody else, it could galvanize the team. It could give them new life. I've seen teams not go on a run, but I've seen plenty of teams, not plenty, a few teams get rid of their coach, get the new guy, finish strong, and then next year be a playoff team. I would rather open to that because my thing is Patricia being here ain't going to help anything get better if Pasqualoni is calling the plays. Our offense might actually get better, even better throughout the season, to be honest, because we have a first-year coordinator with a guy, and obviously without Kerryon, but I think our offense has actually been getting better and better, and I think that can continue. So I just don't think he's not adding anything to this team. So if they wanted to swap him out with somebody else, not going to hurt us. I don't think it's going to make us lose any more games.
Well, I just look at it a little bit. I look at it a little bit different. I just want to keep it objective. I'm just looking at the coaching decisions that I can't wrap my head around. I felt like last year you saw all kind of weird stuff. You saw Hand at the tackle at the 3 technique. You saw him all over the line. We get Trey Flowers. Tell me what game have you seen Trey Flowers inside? At the whether it's at the 3 or not. When have you seen Trey Flowers anywhere inside other than playing DN? Hell, they switched him a few times to left end a few times. But when have you seen them use him inside like how they was using Deshaun Hand? When? Because I've sure been paying attention and I ain't seen it. Why are we running it up the gut behind Kenny Wiggins? Why? Somebody help me understand. Why would you do this? Why just keep calling dive plays? That's on them. That's on coaching. And if you fire him now, that does not mean that it's a major rebuild. We need a facelift, a tummy tuck, a breast lift, whatever you want to call it. We need something that's different than just coming out with the same. Darius Slay said it best. We have all the pieces to the puzzle that are not being put in the right spot. That is telling. Because I'm not even in that locker room and I see it. I see it. We're not even. Why are we not using Jesse James? Why is people coming up the street starting over on people who've been here? None of the stuff that's happening makes sense. None of it. And it all boils down to one person. The head coach. The head coach. This is not meant to be something that you can look at and say, put it on the players. Put it on the owner. Put it on the GM. The GM got talent here. When they went out, when everybody was talking about bringing in Trey Flowers, I was the only one saying nope because his numbers is not no better than that of Romeo Okwara.
But with that said, because I've been on Trey Flowers' butt the first half of the season, the last couple of games, he's really starting to get much better and getting more of a presence and starting to get to the quarterback a little bit, just like George Morgan said.
True.
He has gotten better, and he's really you're starting to see him blossom a little bit. Now, I thought maybe when 2 weeks ago when Hand was back, that could have been the reason, but Deshaun Hand went out last week and Flowers was still getting pressure. So maybe he's getting comfortable with what's taking place. So I don't want to say he's a bust right now because the last couple of games, he has gotten better. He's shown some progress, in which is very good because we're paying him $17 million.
That's true. That's true. But
it's very important for him to put out his best effort. So if he continues to do this, I'm going to lay off a little bit on Trey Flowers for that fact. Because we knew he's not a 10-sack guy. We all knew that. The reason we got him in here was not simply just because of the sacks, but it's more of simply stopping the run and pass rush. And right now, stopping the run is like throwing a hot dog down a hallway.
Right. You're right. It's like you're right. It is like throwing a hot dog down the hallway. You are absolutely right.
Is it the scheme? Is it Paul Pasqualoni? Right? Is Pasqualoni not putting these players in the correct spot? Because we do got Snacks Harrison. He was great the last couple of years stopping the run. We do got Trey Flowers. We do got some decent names, and we're still the 32nd ranked defense. So is it Paul Pasqualoni?
I think it is Paul Pasqualoni. And I think if Matt Patricia is going to refuse to take over the defensive play calling, he should go down with Paul Pasqualoni. You are a defensive-minded coach. You are not fortitude at the right to overlook something that you see as this ugly. It's ugly. That would be like a chef who knows how to make a basic egg and he burns it. You need to be able to do something to help fix this, and you're refusing to do it. For that, you should go down with your homeboy. Go down with your mentor. Because I'm telling you, when he wasn't on the sideline, he's over there coaching those guys up on the sideline, telling them what to do. The defense was nasty. It was unbelievably nasty. They was aggressive. They was doing things right. Now he don't lessen into the hands of this guy so old that I think he needs pills to remember stuff. And guess what? We can't stop the run. We don't have pass rush. We barely blitz. We got injuries, but those injuries are mounting up because guess what? We on the field too long because we can't come up with a defensive game plan to get off the field. And when we do, they get a penalty. And nobody holds them accountable. That's coaching.
There is a lot of penalties too, and that's sickening to me because I'm seeing penalties that shouldn't be penalties. Again, 12 men on the field. We've seen that a couple of times, and that's frustrating. It's absolutely frustrating. We've seen that through the special teams with their coaches. Now, do you believe there is going to be firings, whether it happens this year or in the off season, when it comes to any coaching staff? Now, I'm talking about Paul Pasqualoni, Daryl Bevel, Joe Marciano, as the Lions special teams coach or head coach Matt Patricia. What I think is going to take place personally is I think Paul Pasqualoni will be canned by the end of this year. I think he will be the guy that they put on the overboard, and they're going to try to pick up a guy like they did with KFC and Daryl Bevel, an individual that may not even be associated with the Patriots or what Mr. Patricia has gotten, an individual that knows defense, whether it be a Quinn from the Falcons or another younger stud in the league to bring this defense to that next level. I think that's very possible and probable. What do you think, J-Mo? What do you think is actually going to take place?
Nothing. We'll probably get rid of the run game coordinator, and that's it. I don't see the Lions. For me to believe they're going to fire somebody, I got to actually see him do it. Because when we had Jim Caldwell, he had all of his coaches the whole time defensively. Even when Martha fired everybody in 2015, Jim Caldwell always had his defensive coach, no matter how bad the team was. So unless Matt Patricia wants Paul Pepperoni to leave, and he's like, no, I want him gone, he's not going to go anywhere. If Matt Patricia is still here, Paul Pasqualoni is still here. That's just the way that I look at it. They might get rid of the run game coordinator, maybe the special teams coordinator, but that's all I can see, and I'm just going by the history that what the Lions have shown me. If we want to get rid of Pasqualoni, then Patricia would have to go, but I'm not sure that Patricia leaves, so therefore Pasqualoni stays.
For sure. You know, I just think he's going to be the guy that's going to get the can. Again, that's exactly what we did last year. We got rid of KFC. We brought in Daryl Bevel. And I'm going to say it worked. It really did work. I don't see Bob Quinn firing Matt Patricia. I don't see that happening. As much as, you know, fans may want that to be. For doing a straight rebuild, I talked about this with Luke G because I went back and forth. And I don't believe they're going to do that. I think they're going to go ahead and make some moves in this draft, get some pass rushers, and change the defensive coordinator, possibly the special teams coach. But that's not too relevant, in my opinion. I'm not too focused on that. What say you, Luke G? Okay, that's a very good one. So Luke G got kicked off. I'm sure he'll be back in a minute. So I seen in the chat people saying.
Go ahead.
I see people saying a full rebuild. No, I don't see. I think that would be a very bad idea to do a full rebuild. Again, we got Matthew Stafford right now, who's having a really good year. This offense is clicking on all cylinders. I mean, you're looking at, we have the best probably wide receiver tandem in the NFL right now per stats when it comes to touchdowns and yards, etc. I feel like the offensive line is good with pass protection. It needs to obviously get better in the middle when it comes to the run game. So I think doing a full rebuild would be a mistake. Would be a mistake right now.
My thing is Bob Quinn is not going to do a rebuild because he didn't come here for a blow it up type rebuild. He came here, soft rebuild, fill in some pieces, help the team win. And like we were saying, you got Matthew Stafford. You lost Kerryon Johnson. So, As y'all already know, once you lost Kerryon Johnson, to me, the season was over. We were done. We were
Well,
cooked. Like no carry on, no season. But I just feel
I don't agree
like
with that.
with Stafford, you're not gonna blow it up as long as he's here. Blowing it up would mean getting rid of him. But like I said, when it comes to the money aspect and things like that, I don't think they're not gonna get rid of Stafford no matter what. They're gonna hold on to him for dear life.
The only
He's the
way
only
I could
thing they
see
have.
a total rebuild is if we don't win another game this year and we're a
But
top
we
five
but
pick.
we
That's the
don't need
only
a
way I could
rebuild.
possibly see it.
But we
And
don't.
I
But
don't
we,
see that. I don't see that happening at all. I don't. I see us going probably 7-8 wins. What say you, Luke G?
I just don't think we. I don't think it needs to be a rebuild. I don't think for one. I think Paul Pasqualotti gets fired because I think he's going to be the scapegoat. That's one. For two, I think Matt Patricia gets fired if they go 6-10 because the standard was set when Bob Quinn said 9-7 not good enough. So if 9-7 not good enough, you there ain't gonna show can't be hypocrite with 6-10 and 6-10. You can't because that certainly is not good enough. So I think if he goes 6-10 or less, yeah, he's probably gonna be in trouble. But I don't think everybody is in this. This is the thing. Everybody's in panic mode with the idea of it having to be a rebuild. You don't need a rebuild. You need a facelift. Somebody who comes in, evaluate the talent that you have on your roster right now. He's not learning on the job, and he utilizes the talent that he has. If you go back to the Rams team who was under Jeff Fisher, horrible coaching and nightmare, they bring in Sean McVay. He evaluates that talent and uses it accordingly. That's why when J-Mo say, "Oh, the season was over when Kerryon got hurt," I don't agree with it because guess what? We were just running dives. We could do that with anybody. You want to run another dive? Run it again. Because that's all we're doing anyway.
Yeah,
Running a
but
dive,
my thing is
running a dive
Carryon
again.
is a special player. When Carryon's
He
a
he
special
he,
player,
he
but
can be. He
he's a
can be.
running back.
He can
When
be. But
you lose a guy
if you're
like
not using him
Carryon,
right, if
yeah,
you're
when
not
you
using
lose
it
a guy
right,
like
and
Carryon
Darius
without
Slade
the
make the very good
special
point.
passing,
Well, hold on, J-Mo. Hold on. He could be a very special player, right, J-Mo? Like everything you're saying could be true. He could be a special player and all that could be there. But it doesn't matter. You can have special players and not use them right. It happens all the time in the NFL
yeah,
where teams
but
have
regardless
special
of
players.
using
Hold on,
him
J-Mo.
right or
Hold on,
not,
J-Mo. Hold on. It happens all the time where teams have those special players and don't utilize them right. And the Lions is one of those teams who are not utilizing their talent right. And if that's the case, then it doesn't matter who we put back there. You could have had Jim Brown back there. If all you run is dives, it don't matter. There's no creativity when it comes to the run. And so that's where the problem comes in that for me. But go ahead, J-Mo.
to me, this has nothing to do with the play callers. It has to do with Carryon and him being a playmaker, him being special, him being the guy that can dodge three tacklers and get a first down. Uh, Without Carryon, it doesn't matter about the plays. You don't have Carryon. It don't matter what plays you call it. That's just the way that I feel with our team, especially with our team. You need that star running back that can do those extra special things because the table is not going to always be set for him to do what he needs to do. So that's why I said the moment we lost the running back that we needed, just like, if we was to lose, I'm not going to even say their names because I'm afraid we might lose them. But if we was to lose some of those guys on the offense, how would we look? We probably would look pretty bad. And if we don't have our starting running back, well, I could never see the team doing well because without Stafford needs a run game to help him. And we've seen how many games that they win. Like when Todd Gurley got injured, Rams lost it. Le'Veon Bell is not in Pittsburgh. Look at them. And I can go the league. The list goes on from Ezekiel Elliott with Dak Prescott to you need that star running back.
You do
Imagine what would
need.
Carolina look without Christian
but
McCaffrey, man. What
but
would they look?
yeah, but see, this is the thing. Before he even got hurt, what was he averaging? Like 2 point yards, 2.4 yards.
No,
Come
he was
on.
averaging 3.4 yards a carry.
Okay, so before he got hurt, he was averaging 3.4 yards a carry. And how were we doing in the
Yeah,
rushing attack? How were we doing in the rushing attack?
hey, man, he's facing the most stack box in the league.
Okay, all right.
I think when it comes to this running game, I think it has a lot to do with the interior when it comes to the guards positions. That is very much hurting, as well as
Facts.
vision. You're talking about Ty Johnson and why he's not being used, and you made a great point about vision. He's fast, he's speedy, but it seems to be not seeing the whole that well. He seems to be going down the middle. he should be able to make a cut to the outside on some of those times. I think JMO is right, though. We do need to get a very talented running back, and to put this with a better offensive line when it comes to running the ball. Now, I feel like our offensive line right now is doing well in pass protection, but when it comes to opening up the holes, the interior's lackluster. And when it comes to our defense is what really needs to be built. I think when we go into this draft, we need to get pass rush. We need to get cornerback, linebacker help. I think we need to really focus on the defense. I think that's the number one goal, in my opinion, for us to get better. Get a new defensive coordinator, someone that may not be affiliated with Patricia, but who has a record of bringing real solid defense in this league, and pick up young defensive talent, specifically pass rushers for this roster.
Yeah, and I can see that. I can definitely see them going to get pass rushers, but I think it's going to be a lot of them in free agency. There's some names I want to stay away from, like Yankovic. I don't want Yankovic. To me, Yankovic is just like Trey Flowers. He needs a strong supporting cast. In and of itself, he's not moving the needle. So I think they can go out and get some pass rushers, but I also think that you can do that in free agency, do that through trades and other things. I just don't think that there's one player that we could have picked up to change the way this defense is performing. Whether that be Von Miller, maybe if we went and got Jesus, that might have worked. But outside of that, I don't think there was one player who could fix this. Without the guy who has the moxie to sit there and make those adjustments and say, let me get in here and let my defensive coordinator know this is what I want, this is what should be happening. And when it comes to Ty Johnson and that vision, that's why they're not using him. Because I had to go back and watch more and more film, the little runs that he did have, and I'm like, man, it's a cutback lane right there. Man, if he just sees this, turn his head slight to the right, he can cut back and he's off to the races. He wasn't doing those things, and I'm like, okay, that's what the problem is.
Now, Truth Teller says, if you believe that Ty Johnson wasn't seeing the hole, then what's Kerryon's excuse? The reason Luke G came up with this was we were watching McKissick. Now, he was hitting the hole. Now, when it comes to McKissick, he can't break a tackle for the life of him, but his vision was good. If you see it in the game, he was hitting the holes, but the first guy tackles him. He's literally another Theo Riddick. And when you're watching Ty Johnson, they would go in the middle instead of breaking it to the outside. And I think that's what you're trying to say, Luke.
Right. And with Kerryon, the problem with Kerryon is Kerryon can do all those little movements and stuff. But again, it goes back to the point of we don't have the offensive line that's moving people. We don't have that guy. You gotta have a guard that can move somebody. Those guards get stood straight up. They don't even turn the dude sideways. Like, just turn them sideways. They get stood straight up, and not a running back got to try to get skinny to get somewhere. That's slowing down the running backs. So there's no excuse for Kerryon neither. But that's my point. It doesn't matter who you put back there. The line is not good at run blocking. They're barely making it as pass blockers. And the truth is, the running backs that we have, while I like Ty would get better. He would get better. But I understand why they're using him in limited roles when I watch his vision. And granted, JD, you don't blow at him too hard. You sneeze and he fall over. But still, if you watch his vision and how he sees things, I mean, just go back and look at the one run where he was getting in and out of those cuts, watching this stuff. Ty don't do that. And it's because he's still working through the nerves. Ty's good, but he still got to work through those nerves and work on that vision.
Now, El Wormy, we're not putting pressure on Ty Johnson. We're explaining the reason why, because there's a conundrum going on. Why isn't Ty Johnson being utilized more since all these injuries? And the reason Luke came up with this idea is because he's not seeing the hole. That's definitely because he's a rookie. He has potential to grow magnificently. He's definitely a rookie. Mm-hmm. And just like any position in the NFL, rookies, it takes time to learn it. And he's got all the tangibles there. I mean, he's got the speed. He's got the balance. I love his balance. He's got the breaking hole ability. He doesn't seem to get on the first tackle, instantly get taken down. So he's got a little more strength, but he needs to work on his vision. And once, you give him a couple of years, he'll grow into it. But that was the reason. There's big time questions of why Ty Johnson wasn't the featured back by now with all these injuries, and that was the reason why.
Yeah, and if you just take this stance of this, the Russian attack is worse this year than it was last year. Like on last year was running the ball better. Why? They had a guard or at least a scheme that allowed for him to pick his hole and be patient and run. Now it's like I need you to go here and I need you to trust me and go here. And it's like,
No, George Morgan. George Morgan. I've been talking with Luke G about this all day, and his opinion that he told me, because I said, "What the hell is going on? Why isn't Ty being utilized more?" Me and his TA for Noble Sports were talking about this, and Luke said, "If you look, it could be his vision. He's not seeing the hole." So yes, that was the reason why I was asking that, and his explanation was not seeing the hole. And I said, "Well, that does make very good sense." So
and
yes.
yes, and
Well,
we
my
we
my explanation was Ty Johnson is a scat back. He's not really a running back like that to me. To me, he's a guy, a third running back on a team, a scat back type guy. I do like his power though. He has a good power for the amount of speed that he has. But to me, he was never, even out of Maryland, he was a never pure running back type of player. And so I just think that the Lions know what he is and they're using him accordingly.
and that's the reality of it. He'll get better. Like, make no mistake about it. He'll get better. I believe cold-heartedly he will get better. But I know he goes back and watch game film and be like, damn it, I should have saw that cutback lane. Because it was open. It was a few times in that Raiders game where they just flat out sold out to the left. And I'm like, bruh, it's to your right. To your right. And then it was, and what did he do? He just went into the pile. And I was talking to TA, and TA said the first thing his children said to him, I'm going to say this again, his children said to him, why does he just keep running into the pile? Why does the kid see this? But, this is not what it's supposed to look like. And so um, I think that he'll get better. The same thing with TJ Hawkinson. He'll get better. He's had his fair share of drops and miscues, but he still has been okay for the most part. And I think he'll get better. It's just a matter of making sure you get the right guy in there to get it done. It does matter the type of scheme you have. It does matter who's blocking, because I can assure you, if we had just one monstrous guard, because I'm telling you, if you look at some of them holes that Josh Jacob had, they was big. Our guards weren't doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, this is something that we talk, Luke and TA and myself.
Hold on. I'm sorry, Mike. He said George Morgan is saying, dude, listen to the video when it's over. Luke said he doesn't know why. No, what Luke said is, I don't know why you bring a guy off the street and star him over a guy who been here. And what I'm saying by that is this: you bring in Trey Carson, a guy you picked up off the street, but you didn't. You still got to give your players a chance to develop. And sometimes people learn on the job. Some things happen on the job where you learn on the job. My thing is in the game against the Raiders, he actually was doing pretty okay rushing, even though he wasn't seeing a lot of the cut lanes. And I said, yeah, his vision is not there. However, you still don't bring a guy off the street like Trey Carson. Like, what has Trey Carson done to come in fresh off the street and start? It ain't like they brought in Adrian Peterson. It ain't like they brought in Jeremy Hill, Alex Collins, somebody who's really done something in this league. It ain't like they did that. They brought in Trey Carson. And he was horrible with his running ability. Just, I get a good run here. Oh, I get a good run there. And then it was dead in the water afterwards because it was straight up the middle. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying that, they're not playing because, I'm saying this guy came in off the street and gets to start over a guy who's been here. You drafted this guy. Give him a shot. Give him more touches. Let him get the feel of it and get into rhythm. Because most running backs will tell you, our game works with us getting in rhythm.
Folks, we have 61 in the chat, and I see 48 thumbs up with 2 down likes. If you can please hit that thumbs up, that would be fantastic, and that would help
support
us and support the DSA and bring it to light throughout the YouTube via algorithm. It's important. Everything counts. And one of the points that counts is via algorithm. I would like to switch gears here and ask a simple question. Does it take 2 to 3 years to turn a franchise around? JMO.
It depends on the state that the franchise is in. You telling me how long it's gonna take for the Arizona Cardinals or the New York Giants to turn around? I would say 3-4 years. You telling me if another team that's like, how long would it take to turn the Cowboys around if they finish 9-7 in the playoffs? I'd say you switch the head coach and they're turned around. So to me, it depends on how far along is the team. Now you're talking about our team, a team that has just come off a 9-7 record, and the year before where it was in the playoffs with a 9-7 record. And we have a roster is at least above average. I'm talking about last year, his first year, not this year. Our roster is at least above average. You should be able to do something with that. You got Matthew, like I said, you got Matthew Stafford and wide receivers. Usually, when you come to a team with a good quarterback, usually you don't have a running back, you don't have the O-line, or you don't have the receiver. Well, Matt Patricia had everything. You had the rookie carry on, you had somewhat of an O-line, and you had a load of receiver core. You didn't have a tight end. You fixed that later. So to me, with our team, you give us Sean McVay instead of Matt Patricia, we probably got a playoff win right now. Straight up. Like, if Sean McVay didn't go to the Rams, came to the Lions, we would have a playoff win. I guarantee it. And it's not like the guy's the greatest coach in the world. It's just you don't need that long. I mean, I'm almost willing to think if we had Matt Nagy, we might. And Matt Nagy has had some issues, but he got Mitch Trubisky. He don't got Matthew Stafford and all the weapons. Like, how would Matt Nagy look with Matthew Stafford and all these weapons being a head coach? So to me, it's about where the team is. A team like ours, it shouldn't take any time at all. It should be a seamless transition, and we should be a good team. It shouldn't be that hard. If we had Sean McVay, this team would be a playoff winning team.
And Rocco P says Micro Mike for head coach. Hey, I would take it.
I
that would be
support
a
it.
pay raise. And
Man, I'm good.
I do enjoy yelling. It was something I did a lot in the Army, and I think it would work well being a head coach and seeing these flags. I think I'd lose my voice box fairly quickly. Luke G, does it take 2 to 3 years to turn a franchise around?
No, it don't. Ben McAdoo went 11-5 with the Giants. That's with the same snacks being on there and Eli Manning and no rushing attack. A hobbled Odell Beckham Jr. He went 11-5, and he was a horrible coach. Horrible coach. Sean McVay, first season, I think he went 10-6, 11-5, made the playoffs. Matt Nagy, it doesn't take that long. And Matt Nagy not even like a good coach. LaFleur is 7-2. He's not even a real coach. But there's some life to be had in how you do some things. And to me, it just shouldn't take that long. Like I said, I keep going back to Bob Quinn's statement. 9-7 is not good enough. So you took a 9-17
with the bottom of the barrel franchises, though.
You said what now?
Like the Jets. I said you think it should take longer with teams like the Jets and the
Yeah.
Cardinals.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yes, yeah. With those bottom of the barrel teams, it should take that long. But in the case of the Lions, we had talent, and then after that first season, you wanted to say, okay, he came off a Super Bowl, didn't have an off season. Now you got an off season. You got to do a full program. What's the excuse? You got the guys you wanted. What's the excuse? So for me, no. Sean McVay, when he came to that team, he evaluated the talent that he had. And he worked with the talent that he had. The next year, what did he do? He said, this talent is hobbled. Let me go ahead and go get C.J. Anderson. Let me bring in this person and that person, and that's going to get us to float. He make the adjustments based on his weaknesses. We just have to be able to understand that this one question should be answered. Do we have the talent to win? As easy as this team could be 7-1, this team could be 0-8. And that's where the problem lies for me. there's no real separation. When you go to the first game, it ended in a tie. The second game, we at home, opening home game, we win by 3 at
I
home.
think I think it all depends on each team. Like if you look at 2009, we got Jim Schwartz. It took us a couple years, I think 3 years, to be you're going from a team with no talent at all, and he was the right coach for the right time, and he took our franchise from garbage to respectable in 3 years. It took 3 years, and it all depends on the coach, the situation, and the timing. Again, teams like the Jets or the Dolphins, yeah, you're going to need a little more time. The talent is not there. It's going to take a couple of drafts to put talent on that roster, and a couple of good drafts at best, because you got to start hitting on all these rounds to make team. Now, when you come to Bob Quinn, he has drafted well with depth. And I think there has been a lack of getting star players when it comes to the defense. I'm not saying offense, but when it comes to the defense, I think what's very important for when you're bringing to a culture is they want to be physical. And when it comes to the defensive line, it's just not physical right now. And when it comes to the head coach, is he the reason why it's not physical? We got, again, the names like Hand, who's been injured. We got Ashawn Robinson, who's done well. Snacks, has regressed. Is that from the coach? Should our team take 3 years to get better? I believe it shouldn't, because we were a 9-win team when Caldwell got fired. And the excuse Bob Quinn says, is in which he was right when he made the statement, was we want to be better than 9 wins. I totally agree with that. But with that statement comes now the fact you get the guy you brought in who is not achieving that goal. So now you're going against your own word, and it's affecting it. The culture is getting affected with that, because how can players listen to what you have to say when you say a 9-win team's not good enough, but the guy you brought in who is not getting us there? So I don't think it should take 2-3 years. I think with the situation that it has, I think 2 years was legitimate. I felt I gave the pass in the first year because, again, the players were not all set for a Matt Patricia team, and he came in late. So I said, okay, next year we got to start getting those W's. We did well in the offseason by picking up talent, but we're not getting the wins with that talent. So something needs to be done to get that fixed. I am not Nostradamus. I can't tell you exactly what it needs to be done, but it doesn't, in my opinion, need to take, for our situation with our talent, to take 3 years to do so.
I mean, here's my question: What did Brandon Marshall see that would make him make such a statement that the Lions have everything, that this is a playoff team, that this is a division winning team, they're going to win? What did Brandon Marshall see? What was going through his mind when everybody else at the table with him thought he done lost his mind, that he was confident enough to say that and stand by it and give his proof, to have them all go, oh, okay, all right, good points.
Well, look, marijuana got passed as legal, so that could have been a reason.
That could have been. That very well could have been a reason. But I just think that overall,
hey, you're going Robo Luke on me, man.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just think that overall, what we're starting to see is we are underachieving at a alarming rate, and that's what's frustrating for most Lions fans, because they see the talent on this team. They do. They see the talent on this team. They see what's going on with the receiving game, the passing game, but we're still not utilizing all our weapons. And on top of it, let's be honest. You know, we are at a point where, how can I best put it? We are at a point where I don't think we're cursed. I saw that as a question. Do we have the Madden curse? No, we don't have the Madden curse. We don't have any curse. We have a issue with consistency. That is our problem. Our consistency is not there. We need to fix that part of our game and move forward. Once we get more consistent, we good. 2 or 3 years to learn consistency could be very well possible. But in this instant, they were already 9-7. and we win 6-10. Lord knows where we finna go this year. I just want to see more consistency, and I want to see my head coach make sure that that's happening.
Consistency is key, man. You got to be consistent, and that's how you become a winner, man. Consistently winning and not consistently losing. We don't want that type of consistent. Now, Carl Campbell says it's the Bobby Lane curse. It very well could be. Now, I talked to Chat
That
Sports,
curse
and
ended a long time.
I talked to Chat Sports, and I made the comment of Chat Sports, does God hate the Lions? And if God hates the Lions, what can we do to make him love the Lions? And the response was, well, you could do sacrifices. So I think that's possible. Maybe we can do some, some sacrifice to get this team in good graces. But yeah, who knows? Who knows, man? But this franchise has not been good for many years. And hopefully it gets better. Hopefully it gets better. Now, JMO, with the record we got at 3-4-1, how many more, realistically, how many more wins can this team get?
I do want to say one thing to George Morgan. Yes, George Morgan, you are right. Down Muleback does have the stench, as Man Beast would say. He has the stench of 0-16. So until we get rid of him, we will forever be the Lions. So let's hope we get rid of him next year. Now, I think we can win every game, but are we going to? That's a different question. I think none of the games on our schedule that I look at it, I'm like, that's not a winnable game. They are all winnable games. The Packers, the Vikings, and the Cowboys are the best teams on our schedule left. Besides the team we got this week, but I think we can win all of the games. But to me, it don't mean anything.
What say you, Luke G?
Lord Jesus. I mean, this is a good question. It is a good question. And I'm gonna tell you, the truth is for me, as I evaluate, I think they got at least one, maybe two more losses coming. I really believe that. They got one or maybe two more losses coming. Because they are the one thing that they've been consistent at is being inconsistent, and they will consistently play up to and down to the people that they play. And that's killing us. So I think they got maybe two more losses coming. There's some teams that they're gonna try to overlook, like the Bucks, and the Bucks have shown that they are not a team you should ever overlook. They,
I'm the type of team win the next 3 games, beat the Vikings, and then lose the rest. That's what
see
they
what I'm saying? but
like that's
but
what they do.
that's where we at. That's what I'm saying. They have been and went to a team, and they have been and took that team light. And it's like, why you don't take them light? Get in there, beat. This is why I love that game where it was the 49ers versus the Panthers. They just came out and said, we better than you. Flat out. And we're going to show you before halftime. I
Yeah,
want you
they
in
did.
halftime. I want you in halftime trying to figure out what can you do to make this not look like the absolute massacre that's going on. Not what can you do to win it, but how do you stop this bleeding? Because what they did to the Panthers was they cut arteries. Okay? And we have to start coming out with that same spunk. That same spunk. Now, we've had some very beautiful opening drives, but we're not closing in on them. We're not closing those opening drives out with touchdowns. We're taking field goals or interceptions, or Lord knows what else can happen. Fumbles. I mean, we have to close those out. And that's what I'm going to look for. I'm just not sure that they're going to come out and play like J-Mo said. They can come out, beat the Bears twice and the Cowboys, and then come out and drop an egg to the Redskins. And the sad part is, if you go back to every single game, the Lions could have won most of those games handily because most of the teams we played was just as hurt and had injuries in significant positions. And
Yeah,
we
and
did we and we didn't expose it. Go ahead.
I 100% agree with El Wormy. He says before we do anything, we have to beat Chicago. We're getting ahead of ourselves. We definitely got to just focus on Chicago. We have to beat them because Chicago's not playing well right now. The quarterback position for them is a mess. Their offense a mess, and we need to go in Chicago and beat them. I understand that it may not mean much at the end, But we got beat last year by Chicago twice. We got swept. And I think we cannot allow that to happen again. If we lose to Chicago, it's gonna get bad, I think.
Yeah, Mike, the thing is though, I look at Chicago like I look at New York. I'm not concerned. They suck. We gonna beat
I'm
them.
concerned.
But to me,
I'm concerned every
that's
game.
not enough. I'm not concerned. I was concerned for last game. This next game, I'm not concerned. If we lose to Chicago, I actually will be a little bit impressed. To be honest with you, because I just think they're that bad on offense. Like, I mean, we got Mr. Trubisky literally scared to throw the ball out here. Now we the Lions, so he could look like God playing
That's
us.
what I was gonna say. I was
I
literally just gonna
think
say that.
I just think we too much for the Bears right now. I'm not really concerned at all. To me, it's the Cowboys game. I'm not really concerned. We'll beat them, but it's not gonna mean nothing. I thought El Wormy said what I said. It's not gonna mean anything. I'm talking about winning the division and making a wild card, winning the playoff game. If we're not doing that, it's gonna mean.
Now, I'm not gonna lie. I am worried about this game, just like I was worried last week, because our defense right now is the worst in the NFL. So it can make a Trubisky's offense look decent. So, and they got a good defense. Is it elite like we thought it was? It seems to be getting a little more exposed, but they're still a good defense for sure. And it's at Chicago. And they've been losing too, man. And they're feeling the heat as well.
Right. Plus, the biggest thing we got to look at is the one thing that if you were a head coach right now coming in and playing the Lions, what's the one thing you want to do? Run the ball. If I'm the Bears, this is the game my rookie running back get 30-something touches.
Yes.
This is that game.
Oh, yeah,
if I'm the Bears,
David Montgomery, I might be a little bit more concerned now because Montgomery will probably get $150 on us. But I'm telling you, y'all, we gonna beat the Bears. Like
I think we will too. I think we will beat the Bears. I think they have zero offense.
It's about this. Do we trust our defense versus our offense? What their offense or our offense versus their defense? And guess what? I trust our defense versus and our offense versus their defense. As bad as our defense is, we're not the worst defense in the league. That's just what the numbers say. When we go on by how many points we've been giving up, we haven't been giving up the most points. We give up the most yards, but not the most points. And a lot of teams have had a hard time. Only team that's had an easy time scoring on us the whole year was Minnesota. Every other team we played has had a hard time scoring. When I say a hard time, I don't mean like, we keeping them from scoring like we the 85 Bears, but it hasn't been that easy to score on us like it would be if we were the worst defense. And the play call, the call that Darrell Bevel's been calling, we'll score at least 3 touchdowns with Matthew Stafford against the Bears. And I don't know if Mr. Trubisky and the Bears can muster up 21 points of offense.
Well, you know, one of the things I keep saying in the chat, and I saw this message from Marston's Landon. He had posted this, and he said, now I'm starting to blame Stafford. And I was like, oh, if Mars blame me, I'm like, I got to hear this. What's going on, Mars? And he said to me, hear me out, J-Mo. Hear me out, okay? And what he said is he said to me is, when is Stafford just going to just flat out just lose it and start calling people out, telling people we had enough of this and being more vocal? And I'm looking in the chat and I'm seeing people talk about the same thing. Like, when is Stafford going to start to do that? A-Rod do it. All the other good people, the quarterbacks do it. Ben Roethlisberger do it. They all take a chance to call out their players and say, come on, I need you here. You need to stop playing around, stop BS, and we need to be better at this, this, and this. And so he's saying that at some point Stafford is going to have to just be more vocal and more of a vocal leader besides, just sitting back and going, oh man, God, what is that? Like, he needs him to be more out there. Tom Brady does. Tom Brady go at the offensive coordinators. He don't even care. Tom Brady
he's got the clout to do so, though, man.
Right.
Tom Brady's got.
I'm saying he does. He does have the clout.
I'm gonna respond to Mars Landon. We need to get you on the show so we can talk about this. But how I just want to know. How passionate was Stafford looking? How much of a leader was he looking like in the Raiders game when Matt Patricia wanted to kick a punt And Matthew Stafford is like, no, we about to score a touchdown, and that's what we did. Well, regardless of that, I'm not wasting my time. If you telling me something about the game of football that has to do with Matthew Stafford, it don't have nothing to do with interceptions and fumbles and touchdowns, to me, it's just the fans trying to grasp at a straw to blame the quarterback. Also, now Stafford doesn't have enough passion. The same dude that was deathly sick against the Giants threw 4 touchdowns. Like, I just don't have time for things like that. Let's talk about actual mistakes that he's making that's causing us to lose games. When you throw for 400 yards and lose, what can you do?
No, I mean, but
Stafford can scream at all the people he wants to scream at, and Paul Pasqualoni will still be calling the plays. It's not gonna change.
I hear you. I hear you.
My last thing is, why do fans keep thinking things don't happen just because they don't see it happen?
That's a good point.
And that's why I dropped the mic. Like, we don't know that Stafford isn't cussing them out every single day. You really don't know that. Because you wouldn't know that because it's supposed to stay inside of the locker room. It's not supposed to ever reach us in the first place. And we already see how Darius Slay feels. So imagine how Stafford feels looking at that running back room like, yo, I'm sick of this.
Well, one thing we can definitely be vocal about is getting those likes up. Let's be vocal about that. Get those likes up, ladies and gentlemen. Hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. We can get vocal about that. We can get vocal about the fact that there are still Lions fans who are still here, who ain't jumped ship, who ain't gave up, who still look at this team and saying we got problems, but there are solutions to these problems. It's not unfixable. Give a like for that. Let's get them likes up, ladies and gentlemen, and be vocal in that department. But J-Mo, I think you make a very good point with saying just because you don't see it does not mean it's not happening. But I also could understand the point of them where they saying, hey, I want to see it. Sometimes, like when I was little, where I showed my butt at is where my mom and dad whooped it. That's how it was. I want to act up in the grocery store.
It pisses me off because you do see it and we lose the game. And then you just move on. We've seen Stafford. The man did. He ran the football on the goal line and hit the dude helmet to helmet. But I want to see fire and passion. What are we talking about, y'all? All y'all do is ignore all the stuff that y'all see and just focus on the end result. Well, we lost the game. So I guess if Stafford goes out and is real passionate against the Chicago Bears and we lose, it's okay. But if he's quiet like a little mouse and we win, then it's bad, right? What are we talking about here?
Hey, now listen, Fairy Godmother says, I'm in Alabama and delighted to have found you. Hey, man, we happy you here. We happy you in the building with us, man, and you rocking with us, man. We do this every Tuesday and Thursday between 7 and 8. You want to hit that notification bell because it does bounce between channels. And if you're on a notification squad, when we do a community post, it'll let you know that, a post came up and then you can know what's going on. So we do let people know before the show come on where it's going to be at and give you the heads up. But we appreciate the support. So and burn their account, go Sweet Home Alabama. That's one of my favorite shows. So
and make sure you come back and just keep running to our channel and you'll be good to go, man, because we do this again every Thursday and Tuesday, pre and post game.
On Sundays.
Throughout the whole week. Yeah, on Sundays as well. Now, it's that time of the night where we go ahead and throw you, the chat, the questions for us to answer. If you want to send one to myself, JMO, or Luke G, you could do that. Send us to all three. Ask us anything, and we are here to serve you. Now, King of the Lion says, did Patricia lose the locker room again, Luke?
Yes. Yeah, he did. You already had one disgruntled player there with Slay. So that was, but everybody felt like, okay, it's Slay. He disgruntled. We get it. He got 2 years left on his deal. He want more money. No biggie. But then you went and traded Quandre Diggs. And then you cut CJ Anderson. So you got all these different little moves that's happening. And then on top of that, the defense is getting worse. People are frustrated. And I think what Darius Slay said was literally how something he heard from some people. that statement to me seems too profound to not have come from just him. Like to say that we have all the right pieces to a puzzle, but we're not being put in the right spots. Where did he get that from? I don't think that was just something that he personally said. You know, and yes, he was mad.
He probably heard it from Matthew Stafford.
He probably did, but he was mad that his best friend got traded. You know, his buddy got traded, obviously. But you know who else got mad when that happened? The locker room was lost. Then Barry Sanders, when they traded his buddy Benny Blaze, he was pissed. Barry was pissed. Like y'all traded who? Why? Why? You know, and those little things disrupt the locker room. That was one of the reasons why when it was certain people saying trade this person, I'm like, man, you're gonna disrupt the locker room if you do that. And I think that's what happened. I think he's lost the locker room a little, but he can corral them back in if they start to get back on a winning track and they start to see some improvements in the play calling on defense.
Now, Pick 6 says, no one answered my question.
I did.
Do we have the Madden curse because of Barry and Calvin? J-Mo.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Hold on 1 second. How can we have a Madden curse? I'm confused. Isn't the Madden curse like on that player for that year? Those players played years ago.
Yep.
A Madden curse can't extend to a franchise. A Madden curse is, I'm about to get real philosophical. A Madden curse is only for the player, never for the franchise. And the
I ain't gonna say
Madden curse
that.
is real. Look at my homeboy. And I need y'all to keep Lamar Jackson off of all Madden coverage. But no, the Madden curse is not affecting us.
Now, I think the curse
you know, seeing Lamar Jackson over here, Ravens Nation. Let's go.
I think the curse runs deeper than that. I feel like it's the King Tutankhamun curse. I feel like it's the Tower of Babel, you know, shooting an arrow at God type of curse, because it's been going on for a long time.
Yeah, it might be everything but the Madden curse. And let's be honest. If the Madden curse happening to Patrick Mahomes right now, yeah, the dude did a quarterback sneak fall in Florida, dislocated his kneecap. I mean, what the heck? It happens to the player. So no, I don't think it's the Madden curse at all.
King of the Lions says, any chance the Lions rattle off 4 wins so we all can enjoy Thanksgiving? Mr. Field Review himself.
Oh, they'll win the Thanksgiving game. They'll win the game on Sunday. That Dallas game, if you don't stop Ezekiel Elliott, we can pray about it. But 4 games, it's hard for me to say that right now. I believe we'll win that Thanksgiving game because the Bears don't have no offense.
Now, Keith Craig says, and I'll throw this to J-Mo, any chance we pull a last year and defense improves dramatically over the last half?
There is a big chance if Tracy Walker is back. I don't know how long he'll be out, but if he goes on IR, I might just stop watching. Like, I know we not gonna have no defense. Like man, we ain't gonna have no defense if Tracy Walker don't come back. But if we get our Tracy Walker back, we get Daniels back. I know hand went out, but he came back during the same game. If we do that and Matt Patricia starts calling the plays, this team could still make the playoffs, but is that really going to happen? No. Paul Pepperoni is going to call the plays, and it is what it is.
Now, Cara Campbell, and I'm going to go ahead and answer this one. DSA panel, do we go defense heavy in this draft? Yes, and hell yes. We definitely got to go defense in this draft. We need to get pass rushers. I think we could get a linebacker, a corner. I mean, we could go 2 pass rushers. We could get a defensive tackle, defensive end. I feel like this draft – we really do need to focus on the defense. If we can get an offensive lineman, great. Maybe if a good running back is there in the later rounds, possibly a backup quarterback. Doubt it because what we got this year. But I do believe we got to focus on defense in this draft. I think it's imperative, man. What say you?
But he says, do we go defense? And no, we don't. There's going to be some very good defensive players in the free agents this year, people. I mean, some very good defensive players. We ain't going defensive heavy in the draft. I'm sorry to tell you, it's just not happening. You know, for one, the likelihood of them going defensive heavy in this draft would mean that the first 4 picks at the very least would be defense. That's not happening.
Now, Pick Six throwing this one to me. He says, "Do we win the NFC North title by running the table?" The reason I'm going to say no here is because the Vikings and the Packers are doing well. So we would have to run the table, and both of them have an epic collapse. Now, is it possible? Hey, man, I could win the lottery, but it's very unlikely.
I could win the lottery.
Now, I could actually see us, having a lot of wins because the teams we're going against is fairly weaker. And if you think of the Packers, the last game of the year, they're probably already secured a spot by that point. So I think we have a very, very small chance, but in reality, no, I do not believe that.
So the Lions record right now is 3-4-1, right?
Yes.
So they would have to run the table.
We would have to run the table.
They would have to run the table, finish 11-4-1, and you would need for the Packers and the Vikings to finish 11-5 for you to win the tiebreaker, because they would have one more loss than we have because we got a tie for us to win the division. So the likelihood of all that happening is more likely than not.
Honestly though, it's not them losing. It's more us running the table. That's why it's unlikely, because I could easily see the Packers losing 2 more games plus losing to us. Same thing with the Vikings. I could easily see them losing 2 more games, and losing to us.
Right, but it's a combination.
That's the problem.
Right.
Because look, if the Lions ran the table, if we knew somehow that we would run the table, you would have me saying we gonna win the division. Because I just watched the Vikings lose to the Chiefs without Patrick Mahomes, and I just watched Aaron Rodgers lose, and they about to play Carolina now. They should beat Carolina, but who knows? Minnesota got Dallas. They should beat Dallas, but we don't know what's going to happen in that game. So, but it's really about table. And if Paul Pasqualoni calling the plays, only table we going to run is the table to 0-16. Like, let's stop it, man.
Yeah, that combination, it seems like it's a lot,
Now I'm going to throw this to both of you guys, and then I'll answer last. Pick Six says, "Do we beat Chicago Bears this week, J-Mo?"
Mm-hmm.
Luke G.
I definitely think we. I think we beat the Bears. I just don't think their offense. Like, I know how bad our defense looks, and I'm not gonna undersell it. They look terrible, but look at the Bears' offense, bro. Like, who's over there? No one. Like, their offense look worse than our defense, and that's a compliment to their offense. That's how bad the defense looks. But I just think we're just a little bit better than the Bears, and I think our offense is just a little bit too good for the Bears' defense. I'm not saying we about to go out there and score 30, but I think we could score 24 and win the game.
Yeah, okay.
What do you say? Luke?
Oh yeah, we win. I don't need no long explanation. I say that for when we do the pregame and postgame. Yeah, we win.
Now I have to look at the matchups first. Obviously, I know the Bears more than I know other teams, but I was very shocked when I looked at the Raiders matchup and see how good their offensive line was, and that's what scared me. I mean, it really put my pause of, we're going to win, to, oh man, I don't know. And so I really have to look at the matchup and see. I think, again, you're playing at Chicago. They are losing as well, and they need a W. So it's going to be tough. But I have to wait and actually check out the film of the Bears before I make that assessment, because I think it would just be foolhardy for not to do so. Let's see here. I pulled a Kevin Durant. Is their offense ranked 32 of the Chicago Bears? I'm not 100% sure.
I'm not sure.
Probably not, because you got the Miami Dolphins that's been sucking really bad on offense, as well as the Jets too.
The Bears are the worst offense.
And Mike, go back to El Woman's question.
Okay.
And Mitch Trubisky is like last place in every quarterback category. So even if their offense isn't dead last, when you have 9 yards and 1.5, that's the worst offense in the NFL.
There
I
you go,
love
Luke.
this question. I love this question by L. Warman because it's a very good one. But the thing is, how do you define finish strong? You mean run the table? Yeah, if they run the table, yeah, the future is bright. But that running the table part is the part that you got to be able to do first. The future is only going to be bright when we're able to be more consistent. And if you run the table, that's consistency. So anything
This
that
one,
creates anything that
go ahead.
creates consistency is what I will always say is a bright future. Right now, that is the biggest plague that we have, man. It's very cancerous how um, inconsistent we are. So if we get consistency, then yes, the future is absolutely bright.
Now, pick six
I would
dropped.
say this.
Go ahead.
I would say I would say if we do one or two things, if we don't lose to the Buccaneers, I don't know. Don't ask me why I'm singling them out. But if we don't lose to the Buccaneers and we beat the Packers, the Cowboys, and the Vikings, if we beat two of those teams, two of the three, so if we beat the Packers and the Vikings, or the Cowboys and the Vikings, or the Packers and the Cowboys, if we beat two of those teams, don't lose to the Bucks and finish with 8 or 9 wins, I would feel a lot better because at the end of the season, we would have some quality wins over the Packers, maybe the Cowboys, the Vikings. Looks like the Chargers and the Eagles are going to end up being quality wins because the Chargers always get back on track at the end of the season. So if we beat some good teams, even though we underachieved, I could feel better. But if we don't do that, then it is what it is.
Now, pick six got a great question here that I would love to answer. He says, "Do we need a new group of offensive linemen in 2020? Do we need versus? Is it going to be there?" Oh, this is a great question because you got Decker. Will he get re-signed? That's a question mark. You got Rick Wagner. His cap hit is fairly large, and I think we end up releasing him, and that will open up a spot for possibly both tackles there. Also, you got to think about the interior line. Do they want to replace Joe Dahl? I think we're going to see a dramatically different offensive line this coming year, potentially just having two of Frank Ragnow and Glasgow on the team. There could be a lot of turnover on the offensive line, and I think we probably pick someone up in free agency, be one of the tackles that's available, as well as move Crosby into the left or right side and draft an interior lineman. So I think that is a fantastic question and something that we definitely must pay attention to.
Um, I don't know if we're gonna see a drastically different offensive line. If they just upgrade the guards, that's drastically different. I mean, you don't need to make too many moves. I don't think Wagner is going nowhere. And if he do, that just means that they're re-signing Taylor Decker to play right tackle. So I think if you just pick up two guards that can move somebody, this is a drastically different team. That's all you need. Just two monster guards that just don't care, that got that honey badger attitude and move people.
Now, I have the feeling they're going to release Wagner because of his cap hit and what he is bringing compared to the amount he's making. I think he gets released. I do, and if they don't, that means there's going to be other changes on this offensive line. And again, it's not because of the talent or lack thereof. It's more of the financial when it comes to Rick Wagner. I just don't believe he has lived up to his the amount that he's making, and it goes fairly high on the cap this offseason. And if we release him, the cap hit is not that giant. So I think it's very possible there could be a mix up there.
It could. That's what I'm saying. But if you release him, then that means they're keeping Taylor Decker to play right tackle.
Now, Detroit Legend Sportscast says, "You people still listening to these dudes, stop trying to come up with all these crazy scenarios about what we need to do. It's pretty clear the Lions are not doing none of this as you people think."
Why are you listening? Why are you coming in and listening?
Why you listening to them listening? Well,
Right.
all I'm saying is the one thing you can do, the one thing you can't do is jump off the ship. Whether we end up 12-1, or we end up with 6 wins or 7 or 4 or 5, we're gonna be here every day because at the end of the day, we're Lions fans. Well, some of us. we're Lions fans, and that's what we're gonna do. It doesn't matter if we're wrong in any predictions for games or records. We're gonna be here every week for the Lions fans because we know the fan base. We need this outlet because we go through a lot, y'all. I've been seeing a lot on Twitter and Facebook. You just talking like we go through a lot, so we need this outlet just to talk amongst ourselves about how can we somehow help this football team be better, and how can we be better. And if you're gonna believe that you're always gonna be at the bottom, you're always gonna suck, and that's the horrible mentality. And I always say, Russell Westbrook is my favorite NBA player. Why? Because the way he plays basketball is how you should live life with that much intensity. And that's how I feel about the team. So I'm not going to give up until everything blows up. And we're not at that point yet.
And the thing is this, man. Shout out to the real Lions fans out there because I saw this quote today, and I didn't even think I was gonna have to say it today. But this quote I saw today made a good point. Why ruin a good day thinking about a bad yesterday? Let it go. You know, we got people coming in here questioning why are y'all listening to us, but not questioning why they are listening to us. If you don't want to listen to us, we're not forcing you. There's no gun here. But at the end of the day, real Lions fans, real fans of any team, it ain't got to be the Lions, but real fans of any team, don't jump ship. I ain't never seen a lion being a pride in real life, and the pride is getting attacked by hyenas, and decide that, you know what, I'm done being a lion. I'm a hyena today. I'm riding with y'all. I ain't never seen it. I ain't never seen this. You never see a tiger lose a battle with another tiger and decide that today I'm gonna be an elephant. It don't happen. And for any reason, if for any reason you want to dwell on those other things, then dwell on it. But a person who is just angry without solution is just that, bitter and angry. You want to know why they still listening to us? Because unlike other shows and other things, we're offering solutions. We're offering resolutions to things that can be done. It's the same reason why you tuned in to make that comment. And if you don't like the thing that's been said, then don't watch.
You know, just like many people say, this is a brotherhood. This is one pride. This is us as a community coming together and talking about what we love. We love Detroit Lions, whether they win or lose. We all truly still love it. I love the city of Detroit. I believe it's the backbone of America. I believe without Detroit, the United States would be much different than what it is. All the blue-collar individuals that put in much hours to literally bring the the car and truck industry into this country. I love everything about Detroit and Detroit Lions. So I'm going to continue to talk about it and continue to come together with you guys, whether we agree or disagree. We're still all one pride. Now, AF Fragile says, Micro Mike, did you give up on your breakdown video? Been looking for them. No, I have not given up on them. I do them every single week. Now, when I host the roundtable, predominantly I do my breakdown videos on Tuesday. So, but when I have the roundtable on my channel on a Tuesday, I delay it to Wednesday. So it will be on tomorrow. You'll probably receive it around usually about 5 p.m. Eastern time. It will be complete. So go ahead, jump on my channel. Tuesday or Wednesdays, it will be done around 5 p.m. EST. So come back and you will see that it's on there. I still do them. I absolutely love it. It's the favorite part of myself. I get to look at the other teams and see comparisons versus our teams and make a judgment. So absolutely, I'll never stop doing that.
No, and I love your breakdowns. I've been, I've been checking out your videos, and we support each other, man. And that's the beauty of having this community, man. These bandwagon fans amaze me. And then they make these weird excuses up like, oh yeah, I was a Laker fan, but I'm a fan of wherever Kobe goes. Then say you're a Kobe fan. Don't say you're a Laker fan. God, they don't even know how to be bandwagon fans. Lord Jesus, this is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. People at the end of the day, the DSA,
we got positivity in the building. What's good?
Hey, shout out to positivity, man. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, I promise you, when I saw that quote, I didn't even realize I was gonna have to use it today. I already said it again. do not ruin a good day thinking about your bad yesterday. Just let it go.
Let it go. Let it
Right.
go.
Right, man. It's just like I said, I appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming into this chat because y'all like us. We all fans. None of us are on the field. We're not in the office or in the room with these people. However, we all know that there's something wrong. And we all have ideas on how to fix it. That is the beauty about being in a pride. You'll never see a pride of lions, a brain down an elephant, and one lion off to the side talking about something. I would be an elephant, but they attacking. You never see this stuff, and you won't. And that's the beauty of it. That's why when the general view, aka General G. Berry said, "One pride or don't ride," it was the most beautiful thing I ever saw because it was very simple. Either you with us or you not, and if you not, don't come in here with that negative stuff because we gonna call you out.
I would have responded to Tone Capone. First of all, Buffed Up is hilarious. He said the best part of waking up is Folgers in a cup.
No. No. Let me change that. The best part of waking up is 2 girls and 1 cup.
Bro, why you
Oh
have
nah. I got with that one day.
Oh man, bro, I'll never forget when I seen that one. But we ain't gonna do story time that day.
Now Tone Capone says, "I'm defending Patricia too. Everyone is talking about how bad his defense is, but nobody is saying how good his offense is." That's a fair argument.
Not his offense.
But I was just saying somebody gonna say it's gonna be Daryl Bevel's offense. I guess what it is for me, Tone Capone. Honestly, when I look at Matt Patricia, even last year, I don't like the idea that he's learning on the job. Like, you would never see a surgeon just learn on the job. Like, hey, we're gonna have you do this massive surgery, and we need you to do it today. This part of your training. You're not gonna have no supervision. I feel like Matt Patricia should be supervising his defensive coordinator so we can get better. That's what I feel like. And if that happens,
what do you hang your hat on? How are we gonna be talking about Matt Patricia's offense, even though it's Daryl Bevel and Stafford's offense? But even if we gave him that, how are we gonna be talking about his offense when his calling card defense is ranked 32nd? Even if it's not 32nd worst defense, even if it's not the worst defense in the league. Oh, so what, you bottom 5? You want a cookie? And to me, like I said, he brought in Daryl Bevel. Why? Because he didn't want to have anything to do with the offensive side of the ball. If Matt Patricia had anything to do with the offensive side of the ball, we wouldn't be calling dives and dumps and dives. He would have told him to switch it up. But he didn't tell him to switch it up because he ain't doing nothing on that side of the ball. That's all Daryl Bevel. That's all Stafford. That's all the receivers. That's all the O-line protecting well and the tight ends doing their job. And like I said, his calling card is defense. Why is your defense so terrible and worse than your offense?
I mean, and let's be honest. Let's be honest. This whole thing just simply boiled down to the one thing that I would have thought by now that the head coach would have did, and that is, what is our identity? What is it? In Stafford, we trust.
Our identity is Stafford throwing 5,000 yards.
We already had that one. I mean, what is the identity of this team? And the head coach should be creating that identity. And that's why, for me, there's too many things for me to overlook. But I do get your point, though, Tone Capone, when you talk about what the offense is doing. I get it, but I don't think Daryl Bevel touched that offense at all. And I still don't see what – I mean, Matt Patricia, I'm sorry. I don't think Matt Patricia touched that offense at all. But I still think that we're underachieving and we still lack an identity.
Folks, it is that time of the night. We have been on nearly 2 hours, and it is time to do last words. And with that said, JMO, what do you got to say to the chat out there?
It's gonna be some stressful next 8 weeks, guys. Like, prepare for a long season, man. It's gonna be some ups and some downs, some highs and some lows. I do think we have the potential to win the game on this weekend, but at the end of the day, I agree with what Luke said. You have to find one thing you got to do at the end of this season. Find your identity and find out how what's the philosophy you're gonna use to win football games, and just do it and execute it. Just like Noble always says, learn how to close out games. It is what it is, man. Either you set Matthew Stafford free, or we're gonna be miserable for another 10 years. I'm gone.
Luke G, what you got to say to the fellas and
To,
ladies?
I would say to the ladies and the gentlemen, listen, to the pride, the real pride, not these bandwagons trying to, these sheeps in wolf clothing. We not them people. To
More
the
like
real pride.
more like a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah, that one. Whatever it is. No, it's the sheep in the wolf clothing, because the sheep try to act like he bought that life when they not. That's what it is. They try to act, you try to act like a lion when you're not. You're not a lion. You're not a Lions fan. Don't be one, and just go be whatever team you're gonna root for. But my point is to you people, the real people. Man, shout out to y'all. Because every day you go through the same stuff and you still here. Just because a fight get hard don't mean you bow out. And because y'all don't bow out that fight, I respect every single one of you every single time. Because that's what it's about. It's about being one pride. Now, I like to end things on a good note. You have never, ever, ever truly experienced life or lived life until you have done something for someone who could never repay you. Take that to heart and make sure that tomorrow you understand that the basic concept of life is about giving, and spread that disease like a wildfire. Do that, and then truly, I promise you truly will understand what living life is. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you hit that like, that subscribe, that notification bell, and subscribe to the members of the DSA. And remember, don't be no chump. Please do your research.
Folks, like I always say, humbling you guys take your time to come out. Lions are not having the season we wish, and you are still here. That's a real fan base. That's real one pride. We are all in this fight together. We are all DSA. We all are going through the suck itself. In the Army, it's called embrace the suck. And I'm embracing it with some fun jokes, having a good time. Not everyone agrees with each other. You guys may not agree with me and vice versa, but that's okay, because we all agree on one thing, man. One pride, or don't ride, and let's go Lions. Honolulu blue and silver. We've been dealing with a lot of haters as of lately, trying to take us out, constantly, giving us negative comments, constantly making fake profiles, attacking us. The best thing to do is simply turn the other cheek and smile and not respond. And that's what we'll continue to do, because it's not about us. It's not about groups. It's about the Lions. It's about you guys. So with that said, folks, adios.